What's up, people? Welcome back to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and share this video with everyone who needs to see what's really going down in South Africa right now. Turn on that notification bell, because today's story is hot, heavy, and unapologetically raw. We are diving deep into a fierce confrontation that just shook the streets, Operation Dudula versus the South African Police Service over hijacked buildings. Buckle up, because this one is about power, politics, and the fight for control in communities that feel abandoned. Now imagine this, streets filled with angry voices, tension so thick you could slice it with a knife, and a civil movement squaring up to armed law enforcement, not for protest, not for fame, but because they believe the state is failing them. That's exactly what played out when Operation Dudula came face to face with SAPS in a showdown that is now making headlines across the country. Operation Dudula has long been controversial. Formed in the heat of frustration over crime, drugs, illegal immigration, and decaying infrastructure, it branded itself as a grassroots movement determined to reclaim South African streets. Whether you love them or loathe them, one thing is clear: they have forced uncomfortable conversations into the national spotlight. Their latest battleground? The hijacked buildings that litter inner cities like Johannesburg, Pretoria, and parts of Cape Town. These buildings, once proud centers of life and business, are now havens for criminal networks, illegal occupation, and everything from human trafficking to drug dens. The state has watched from the sidelines for far too long. Or so Operation Dudula says. In their latest operation, members of Dudula stormed several buildings said to be illegally occupied and demanded immediate eviction of occupants. Many of these buildings are owned by the government or private landlords who have long lost control. The group accuses the authorities of complicity, either by turning a blind eye or actively protecting these crime-infested zones. When SAPS intervened to stop Dudula's actions, that's when the real fireworks began. Eyewitnesses described the scene as chaotic. Dudula members shouting, "You protect criminals," while SAPS officers formed defensive lines, armed and ready. There was no middle ground. The police insisted they were upholding the law, preventing vigilantism. Dudula argued that law enforcement was defending decay, refusing to clean up spaces that have become terror zones for South Africans trying to survive. The question on everyone's mind: who exactly is SAPS protecting? It's not just a street-level question, it's a national one. Citizens are angry. They see SAPS as quick to crack down on community movements but slow to react when real criminals take over their neighborhoods. People say they've reported drug dealing, illegal occupancy, and violent gangs, but police show up late, if at all. But when Dudula tries to act, the police roll in within minutes. The optics are ugly. The political implications are even uglier. Some critics call Dudula xenophobic. Others call them desperate patriots. But here's the cold truth: the state has allowed this vacuum of law and order to grow. And in that vacuum, movements like Dudula don't just rise, they explode. Every building that's hijacked is a symbol of lost authority. Every neighborhood overrun by gangs and lawlessness is a testimony that something in South Africa's governance is broken. And when people take matters into their own hands, it's not just rebellion, it's a symptom of deep, systemic rot. The SAPS, meanwhile, insist they are following legal procedures. They argue that evictions must follow court orders, that law enforcement cannot operate on mob justice. They warn that allowing groups like Dudula to conduct raids without oversight sets a dangerous precedent. But try explaining legal procedures to a mother who's afraid to send her kids outside because of needles and gunshots. Try telling legal procedure to families who live next to hijacked buildings that burn in the night, killing dozens like in the infamous Marshalltown fire. That's when words fail. That's when people want action. It's also impossible to ignore the political backdrop. With elections on the horizon, parties are tiptoeing around the Dudula issue. Some secretly admire the movement's boldness. Others publicly condemn them while quietly engaging them behind closed doors. It's messy. And it shows just how unsure the ruling elite are about how to handle a movement born out of their own inaction. This isn't just a Johannesburg problem. From Hillbrow to Berea, from Sunnyside to Durban's Point Road, hijacked buildings have become parallel cities, ruled by fear, drugs, and criminal syndicates. And every time one of these buildings catches fire, or a body is found inside, South Africans are reminded of what has been lost: dignity, safety, and the basic right to shelter. The government promises audits. They promise clean-up programs. But time and again, very little changes. And in that void, Dudula steps in, loud, aggressive, and unafraid. But there's a dark side too. Stories are emerging of innocent people being assaulted, legal residents being thrown out, and small children traumatized by Dudula raids. This raises a critical question: can you fight injustice without becoming unjust yourself? And when the line between law enforcement and community defense blurs, who holds anyone accountable? What South Africa is witnessing isn't just a clash between Dudula and SAPS, it's a mirror being held up to a broken system. It's a desperate scream from communities tired of being ignored, manipulated, and left to rot. It's a warning that the social contract is unraveling, thread by thread. If the government doesn't get a grip, if SAPS continues to be seen as defending chaos instead of order, then we're looking at a nation sleepwalking into something far more dangerous. Operation Dudula has made its move. SAPS has drawn the line. The hijacked buildings still stand, grim monuments to a battle far from over. What comes next is anyone's guess, but one thing is certain: South Africa is at a crossroads. Will it choose to protect its people, or continue to protect its failures? Thanks for watching, fam. If you felt the heat in this story, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and share this video. We're here to speak truth, raw and unfiltered, straight from the streets to the screen. Until next time, stay safe, stay woke, and stay loud.